lot of times I'm driving, there's nothing to do, and I shuffle through the radio before I unglue. There's a lot of red on ways, it's traffic, I'm screwed, and I'm wired a bit different than a regular dude. It's not a bad thing, I embrace it, it's true. The radio don't stimulate brain chemistry fluid. The Buddha found nirvana and the Four Noble Truths. Through a meditative process, right action he proved. For me, I require the use of a tool, a detector, pin, pointer, shovel, and beach scoop. I'm meant to work the dirt with my history crew, but everywhere I look, my interest taboo. Most people choose Bieber over Tippecanoe. What does a detectorist listen to when the radio is full of bad music and news? I need an alternative for me to peruse. Beyond Sight and Sound gets fantastic reviews. A metal detecting show where my thought bubble brews. Thank you, Josh Kimmel, for inviting me to a detecting dork out with guests like yours truly.
Are you looking for a high-quality beach and sand scoop? Are you trying to take your hunting to the extreme? How about an American-based company that stands behind their product and everything they sell? Then check out our friends over at XTREME Scoops. John has been making scoops for some time now and makes a quality beach and sand scoop to take your hunting to the next level. XTREME Scoops recently released their new sand shredder that works great in the water and on the beach. And if you're a new Equinox user, you may want to check out his Surfmaster X3 that can trap those small targets you new Equinox users are finding out there. XTREME Scoop's company approach is let's do it right. So do it right, buy it once, and go to the extreme. XTREMEScoops.com. That's XTREME scoops.com. Caution. Please do not operate motor vehicles or power equipment while under the influence of this show. Listening to this show could cause side effects such as bouts of laughter, violent binges of cabin fever, and even dreams of silver and gold. Please be advised. Now that the fine print is out of the way, on with the show. All right, the fine print's out of the way. It's time to roll with the show. We're back and we're live once again. You are listening to Beyond Sight and Sound, metal detecting and treasure hunting radio for all the really cool digging people out there. And as I look into the chat here, I see, hey, Crazy Spider Adventures in the house. Welcome aboard. Chuck Smalley, let's see, Fred, the Bills, Nelson, Scotty, Barb. Actually, that's, you guys are already past. I'm missing names, so, welcome to everybody. Good to see everybody dropping in, definitely. And I see Fred's got in the chat that Sue is coming home tomorrow. Very good to hear after the procedure she had. Oh no, Trooper, I don't think I could handle double knee replacement. Not both at the same time like that. Not at all. Not at all. It looks like we've got California in the house with Dennis chiming in. Good to see. Nice. So we've got them clear from the East Coast to the West Coast. Links in the description and in the chat. Obviously, first and foremost, our friends over at Shooters and Prospectors. Chuck Smalley, the man with the plan, the dealer of choice, dealing in multi-lines. XP, Note to Macro, MindLab, Garrett, Detector Pro, Detect Ed, Dean Ricker Detector Covers, Cedar River Digging Tools, and more. Give the man a call. Our friends at DETECTEES, our friends at XTREME Scoops, our friends at XP Team USA, Facebook group, website, podcast, Detect Ed Outdoors on YouTube, Crazy Spider Adventures, Metal Detecting NYC, Ohio Metal Detecting, and then the Simplex raffle does still run. The link for that's in there. The Swing Into Summer event page, the meet and greet event, the flyer, the link to that. And then there's also the link to Striker's Facebook profile for those who may not know who he is. I don't see how, but who knows? There's a few out there that still may not know who he is. So there's that link, and then also his email address for contact information, especially if you're interested in Quest metal detectors, which maybe we'll get into that a little bit in the show too. Loy's in the house. Welcome aboard. So let's get Striker in here too. How's it going tonight, Striker?
I am doing very well, Striker. I'm doing very well. Josh, thanks for having me, and hello to everyone out there.
Nice. How's the weather for you?
Yeah, we're looking out here. It was 56 degrees today and sunny.
Oh, you're killing me. I don't think we made it past the lower 30s.
No. Yeah, we're going to be in the high 40s most of the week, and then we go back up again 55 or whatever Sunday. But it's going to be mostly sunny, mostly all week.
Wow. I think the best I saw was, I think 50 degrees maybe Tuesday, and that's with rain.
Wow.
So, yeah, not real good. The weather's not real conducive to digging yet. But then again, I guess you haven't been out lately either.
No, medical conditions permitting, but the warm weather helps. And it's a lot easier for me to get out there, especially when it is warmer.
Oh, yeah, I definitely hear you there. Same way for me, and even a few in the chat there. I know Ohio Relic Hunter, he gets... these cold changes, he kind of gets stoved up himself, gets stiff.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Yep. That's the way it goes, unfortunately. I know we're all looking forward to nicer weather. They tell me it's just around the corner. But, we'll see. I don't know. Maybe if I'm lucky, by the end of March, I'll be out digging, hopefully. Otherwise, hey, I guess, June looks nice.
No, I think you'll be out there during March. I think a lot of them will, because hopefully we'll start getting that warm weather moving in, to everybody, and then everyone can get out maybe a little earlier this year and, start hitting that dirt.
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, Illinois pushes it our way, and then we try to share it with the East Coast. We can't get it to move down to Florida to cool them down or anything, so I just push it out towards the east. I let Leighton and some of the other New Englanders deal with it.
Yeah, they always find the good stuff out there.
Well, yeah, it's all geographic location, though. I've seen some of your finds, too, and if I remember right, you called into a show... Oh, that's been some time back now. I had Steve Arnold on, and apparently you've recovered yourself a nice chunk of meteorite somewhere along the line.
Yeah, that was, it was a buddy of mine out in Wisconsin, and they were clearing out for a subdivision, and they went down, they were peeling back like 5 to 6 feet of earth, to level everything out. And I said, do you mind if I go out there? Obviously I'm not going to disturb anything. And he goes, no, go ahead. And cause, removing 6 feet of dirt, and I think it was the second day, and it was just like, I had to keep checking my detector to see if it was still on. and then finally it just like, clang. And I'm like, and I did it usually, I did it mostly more than I should, because I'm like, okay, and I'm looking around, I'm looking at the 6-foot banks and stuff. I'm like, okay, this is 5-6 feet down. And I started, clearing it out, and about another 4, 5, 6 inches, whatever it was, there it was, this weird-looking shaped rock. And when I had it checked, a gentleman at, it was a place in Wisconsin. I cannot remember the college. I really can't. And he said, send it to me. And I'm like, at first you're like, oh, okay. And I did. I put it in the box, sent it to him. And it came back, and he said it was like over 55,000 years old, and possibly deposited because from what he was explaining to me, the ice age or whatever started to recede, and that's probably right around where that rock came from.
Wow. Nice.
Because it was definitely, I mean, a magnet did stick to it. I mean, just like it belonged there. I mean, clank.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
How big was it?
basically 4 inches by 3 inches, jagged shaped, flat on the bottom.
Still, that's a nice size.
Yeah. It was heavy too. So I still got it.
Yeah, they are. I've got some pieces of meteorite here, and they are, for no bigger than what they look like, they're surprisingly heavy.
Well, yeah, and then, the first thing he followed up with a phone call, and they wanted to cut it. And I'm like, well, I'll get back to you on that. And then it followed up with, do you want to sell it? And I'm like, well, I have no idea what it's worth. None. And I got a hold of one of the meteorite men, and he said the same thing. He says, send it to me, and I'll evaluate it. And then it was like, well, I don't know if I want to ship this off again. So I just decided to, I'll just keep it here, and I put that coating on it, and it draws a lot of interest. It really does.
Oh, yeah, they're great conversation pieces, and usually they sound off kind of like if you were digging up an axe head or something like that a lot of times.
Well, it's most people on your show when they find something like, the Civil War items, and it's almost the find. It's not really what you found, but, when I kept, I look like a foreign tourist. I just kept looking around, yeah, exactly. With the earth mover came in, and I was standing 6 feet below grade, not even 3 weeks ago. And then you take the 6 feet in consideration, and you're just like, okay, and you're like, well, somebody didn't drop it, and it just, that was the biggest thing, I guess, like I've heard so many guests on your show, is where it possibly came from. And when they say, 5,500 years, I mean
55,000 years is
you got to click in that, it's like, okay, it's just amazing how they can do that with the equipment they have. But he said he could have got a lot more accurate by making a cut and cutting it in half. But probably someday I'll do that. But it's just, it's really, it's different.
That seems to be what happens with a lot of them. I mean, people will slice them up and maximize their potential, but to the right people, it's just about more lucrative than gold prospecting if you find meteorites.
Yeah, they get some good ones. Like the meteorite guys. I mean, they get. They find these 1930, 1947s, they go all over the world, and, they find these pieces that are worth, thousands and thousands of dollars, and they've come, millions, billions of miles, and it's really fascinating how they can figure that out by, cutting it in half and, doing all their research on it.
Yeah, especially if you would get lucky enough to find one with the olivine crystals in it. I don't know that I'd want to be the guy making that decision to destroy the meteorite.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd probably walk around with that in my pocket and just, get a bigger belt and suspenders. I don't know. I don't think I'd want that cut for anything if that was one of those.
Right. I hear they're quite nice though. Them things, you get a chunk that's big enough to work. That thing, the olivine's worth quite a bit per carat.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I've heard some stories about that stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I guess for those who may not know, why don't we go ahead and tell people who you are and what got you into the hobby? What inspired you to get started in the hobby, and how long have you been doing it now? What did you start out with?
Well, I started out, I believe, if I had to guess, it was back in Maine, and I believe it was the world famous $12.99 Radio Shack metal detector that took the 47 9-volt batteries. I don't know. It was, and my grandfather got it for me, and then I had this big thing. As maybe most kids back then, I'm 59 now, is I actually used it to hunt for bottle caps because I had a bottle cap collection. And if I came across the odd penny, nickel, or quarter, I just thought that was a bonus. But a lot of times I'd be like, oh, crap, I thought it was a bottle cap. Yeah, I started doing it way back then. And then, like most people, you get out of it for a little bit, and then you really start to miss it. What I tell,
Right.
because I run, and then, like I think basically 29 years I've been doing it. And I teach classes when people get new detectors. So, as you know, the Researcch, I try to keep up on most detectors out there, because if someone brings me something and says, hey, how do I use it? Well, I don't want to say, oh, well, you turn it on and do this.
Right, you got to know what you're telling them.
You got to have some knowledge of it. Does this go there? I don't know. It looks like it fits. Exactly. But what I found out was there's so many, hundreds, thousands of hobbies out there. And this is the only hobby that you can do for as long as I've been doing it. People have been doing it longer or less time. And every time you go out there, it's different, because you never know what you're going to find.
Exactly.
Most hobbies, okay, you do this and this and this, and it's, repetitive. But it's this, I mean, you can just get something interested. And most of them, they'll get it. They'll make a TV show, and they think they're going to go out and retire in a week. Hey, if you're in the right spot, maybe you can. But a lot of them end up in a closet or in a garage sale. And it's fascinating for kids. I mean, for teaching kids and maybe getting them off an iPhone or an Android and getting them outside and actually physically doing something and moving and teaching about history, or actually, if you find something, actually making history in some cases.
Oh, yeah, and rewriting it even.
Right. I go to some schools. When my daughter was in school, I went to a few upper grades. And, it's so awesome with kids, because the first thing they do is like, how much have you found? And, when you answer that, however you want to, but I actually look at it as what I haven't found yet. And sometimes I'm a little weird that way. It's like I don't start off detecting going, all right, today I'm going to find this. I'll be like, today I want to find something different. And I did that one time. We were up in an old barn site, and I got permission to do it. And I got this weirdest signal on my Fisher F-75. It was going like 15, 42, 20, 30. And I'm like, what is this? And I dug it up, and it was a steel, a Yogi Bear cereal spoon, and that was the coolest thing.
That is different.
It is, and I'm like, you're out with a bunch of guys, and I'm like, Yogi Bear, and it's that was just. And then about 20 minutes later, I found one that was Smokey the Bear. And I'm
starting to see a pattern here.
Exactly. It's like, okay, if you got a kid just running around the yard, 30 years ago eating cereal, and keeps losing his spoon. Yeah, I just like, and it's pretty, but the best part, and my wife laughs, we go back there the next day, and I get I find a Howdy Doody one.
Another spoon?
Yeah.
Wow.
I found all three within 3 days, and I just started laughing. I'm like, this is the coolest thing.
Right.
And that just gets you more in the hobby. Guys found a couple of silver coins, and I actually I felt luckier actually. But whatever. It's what you make of it. Like anything you do in life, it's what you make of it and how good do you want to be at it.
Right. You'll get out of it what you put into it. And
that is correct.
I know for a lot of people too, some of us out there, we don't even know that we're looking for anything like that, any particular item, until we actually find it. And then we're going, wow, I didn't even know something like that existed. This is cool. Now I got to find another one.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think, when you get that detector in your hand, and I know it's a hobby and it's fun, and, a lot of people, like I said, all different attitudes about detecting. But, if you go out there with the attitude of, okay, what am I going to find different today? I mean, I've gone out there like you, Josh, and most listeners out there, you go out there and a beautiful day, and you come home with 5 cents and bottle caps or pull tabs, and but that's just when you think about what you're detecting and where you're detecting and what you found in just that area and how much more area you can detect or where you can detect, that's just small, because eventually you're going to hit it. Everybody does. It's just the right time, the right day.
Yeah, absolutely. And you, like you said, you just never know what you're going to find. You never know what's going to turn up next. And every now and then we make those finds that just leave us puzzled and more questions than answers. And, well, how did this get to be where it is?
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. I mean, it's just, I find it never boring. I think now with the waterproof machines, a lot of makers make those, and fortunately, I have one, and it's like when you go to a beach and it's misting and it's overcast and cloudy, and instead of thousands of people on the beach or whatever, it's like you're by yourself.
Right, nobody to bother you when the weather's
you're right,
bad.
And you're quiet, and you're just, and that's, and you get out there before the beach cleaner does, which is really heartbreaking. When you start out and you see the guys on the other end, and you're like, oh crap, he's already been here.
Yep. Yeah, you see the lines in the sand, and they've been through with the rake, and I missed it again.
Yeah, but you have found couple of really good finds that we were talking about earlier before the show started that I'm extremely jealous of.
Yeah, I was thinking the other night actually that the gold ring that we were talking about, I was thinking, maybe I'll have to bring that along to the meet and greet out there in Illinois in June. Yeah. And it just so happened you said something about it, so it's like, yeah, sure, why not? I can bring that along.
Well, I would be more than happy to part with Yogi Bear or Howdy Doody if you'd like to do a trade.
It looks nice in my display. That's all I'll say.
Well, if you eat cereal, maybe I'm a step ahead.
Right? There you go. But yeah, that ring was definitely an interesting ring to run across, and actually, where I found it, I was kind of surprised, because it's like, wow, how that area, there's been everybody and their brother over it with a metal detector.
How did it get there? And how did it get passed over? Exactly. Yeah. That's the point. Yeah.
Everybody and their brother's been over that spot. How did everybody miss that signal?
I mean, you take, we've had meetings, and I've gone to hunts, and, and the one coming up, you can take all these people that metal detect, and you get us all together, and it's like we've known each other for years. And that is the greatest feeling. None of us feel like strangers. Right. And I really respect that, and it's really great to get together with everyone. And I'm actually anxious, health permitting, which I don't care. I'll roll my way in there, but I'm really looking forward to the I&I hunt there June 12th. So that's, there's going to be quite a few people, including yourself, that physically I haven't met you yet. Close.
Right.
But, so, I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh, yeah. So are a number of other people, the Bills and Chuck and Jesse and Mike and Scott. I see a number of them in the chat here that they're going to be attending, too.
Yeah, if I was still collecting bottle caps, that'd be a lot of good finds there, I think, on that weekend.
It could be, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's going to be some bottle caps around there.
I'm sure there probably is, and maybe a few pull tabs, and I'm sure there's going to be some tokens from Ringy and KG. They throw them things out everywhere. They've got holes in their pockets.
Yeah, I got a couple of patches that I got from them when they first started, and I got a couple of coins that I got from them. And the patch I sent them a letter And they sent me like a sentence back going, yeah, here, take what you want and send the rest back, haha. And it was funny, and they sent me a bunch of stuff in a box. And I got one of their patches that they came out with. I still have it. It's pretty cool.
Nice. Tim had actually called in. Oh, that's been probably a week or so ago now, and we were talking, and I told him, I said, I've got one of the first issue ATC tokens. I'm not sure how many times you guys have changed them, but I've got one of the first years of them.
That's nice.
So I may have to pull that thing out too and bring that along in June.
Yeah, I was going to bring the patch.
I
was going to bring the patch down with me, and after Ferrini would sew it on my shirt for me.
Well, there you go. That'll keep him busy.
Oh, those guys are crazy. They are the best two guys. I'm telling you, those guys talk about sight. I mean, when you see them jumping around and stuff, no, that's real. I mean, they just go. That's just like the feeling I'm talking about. That's.
Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. They are
guys.
Genuine. They act just the same whether they're on camera or off.
Correct. Yeah, they're very, very down to earth. They're fantastic guys. They really are.
A real ball of energy.
yeah, that'd be the polite way to say it. Yeah, they are. Oh.
If I had a quarter of the energy that they've got, I'd still be out there tearing up the fields.
Oh yeah, well you know what that's like. I mean, it's no secret. I became well, it's not by choice, diabetic 12 years ago, and then about 6 years after that, neuropathy came with it.
Right.
And, when I'm sitting here and I got the mind of a 30-year-old and the body of an 80-year-old, that's a conflict. But usually I end up going detecting anyway. So the mind usually wins.
Right. Well, but at least this is a hobby that slow can be a good thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If I ever got that bad, I told my wife I wanted to work on a total plastic wheelchair so I could roll around in the fields and not have the metal screw up my metal detector.
There you go. That'd work out. You just have to make sure you had some nice big tires on it. That way you can go all terrain. Definitely. So, you said 29 years. In the 29 years after your Radio Shack one, what did you go to next? What other machines have you had experience with?
Well, if I got to remember, I think I upgraded to about $49.95 and got the. I think they were selling the Bounty Hunter then, and I went to that one. I think that took seven D batteries. I don't know, but and I just kept going, and then out of high school, things changed, so I got out of it a little bit, and I'd go back and forth with it, and then I did a stint in the Navy, and then I realized, when I was traveling in the Navy, I was in. I went into a pawn shop, and I want to say, if I had to guess and be pretty accurate, I want to say it was probably an Ace from Garrett. They had one hanging because I distinctly remember the yellow. And,
right.
And I remember me and a couple other guys went out there, and because, Navy base, everyone's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I bet you between me and the other guys, because then somebody else got one, we'd go out there and we'd find like $30 or $40 in quarters, all over that base. I mean, then I'd start finding the rings, and if the names were in them, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to see if I can track this guy down. And then, started to do that and just got more and more into it. And then when I got out, I got more advanced. I remember I went to White's, and I had the MXT, I believe. Excuse me if I get their terminology wrong. And then I remember when I actually thought I was going to college, I swapped that up to the DFX, with the 4-inch thick manual.
Right.
And that was a whole new different ballgame. And, that's one of those things you hear, like, I almost just whipped that sucker in the woods, and then I stuck with it. Oh my God, that's horrible. I mean, when they come out with special books to learn what you've already bought, because the manual just doesn't quite cover it.
Oh, I know. When I was using the VFX, I read the manual. I bought let's see, Jimmy Sierra's book. I bought another one on digging deeper with the DFX.
Correct.
You had to read all these manuals to understand all the different settings, but once you got it down, it was a very capable machine in its day.
Yeah, when I was reading the manual and I finally got to page 47, I figured out how to turn the machine on. And then I'm like, okay, we got a heartbeat. So I said, let's start going with this. And you throw a handful of change on the ground and like, okay, we're going to cut through a few pages here and do this.
Right.
But I definitely remember when I was using that. And then the Garrett AT Pro came out. And they said waterproof with about, oh my God, it had to have been 1.5 pounds lighter, 2 pounds lighter. And a buddy of mine was a dealer before I was, and I go, can I try this out? And I'll give you a review on it. He says, sure. And within 3 hours, I fell in love with it. I mean, I thought the accuracy was better. I thought the concept of the detector was easier and better. I thought it was a lot more straightforward, even though it had a little bit of falsing to it in the water. But see, what I did is anytime I get something like that or a new detector, I want to know everything about it, every little thing about it. And the backlight, when that thing would hit the sun wrong or whatever, because of the being waterproof, the screen was kind of thick, as everyone knows. It gives you a heck of a glare. And I used to repair computers. You know, I always did it growing up, messing around with stuff like that. And I go, I bet you I could do this. And I took the thing apart because, you're going to avoid the warranty. It's like, well, I don't plan on throwing it in the water. And, even though it was waterproof, I took it apart and I went down when Radio Shack obviously was still open. And I got a diode and I put it in there and wired it into the power switch. And I used my wife's craft glue gun and put it on the back of the screen. So when I turned the detector on, I had a backlight to it.
Nice.
And then a lot of people had it, so I did it for a lot of them. And then we were out on a hunt, and a friend of mine said, what are you using? And he goes, it's a Fisher. And I'm like, okay, what the heck's a Fisher? And he showed it to me, and then as soon as I put it in my hand, I looked at him and I go, you want my Garrett? And I hadn't even turned the machine on yet. And I've been using Fisher F75 for, oh my God, for as long as they've been having it,
Right, yeah, quite some time.
Correct. And then somebody asked me if I wanted to be a dealer, and I wasn't that into it, and came down to somebody had a Quest. And they were complaining, the Technics or whatever it was at that time, the lawsuit they were facing. So they stopped, and then they came back. And I tried one, and believe it or not, I get 2 to 3 inches deeper with the Quest. It's quieter. It's got to be at least 0.5 pound lighter than the Fisher. It's like you don't even know you got it. And then before that, following it, the Deos and what you use, Equinox, they all started it looked like a smartphone on a stick.
Right.
And I love the internal battery. I love the charging system. I love the USB connection that you can update the software, which I don't know if MindLab started that. I'm not sure, so I'm not going to quote anything on that. And I just couldn't believe how simple it was. And you're looking at $700 to $800 maybe for a Fisher, the Max LTD I call it. And you're looking at $700 for a Quest Pro with 3 frequencies,
right.
5, 12, and 22. And that was just astounding. And like you and most people out there, diggers out there, I immediately went over places where I'd been before with the Fisher. And I was still a hard man to beat. I was like, there's no way this is going to hit. And I started hitting stuff. And then I was at Great Lakes. I took it down there, and I got a signal of 41 solid. And I get permission every year, one day, to Great Lakes Navy base here, because I'm like 10 miles from it. And then I'm like, what the hell is this? First I thought it was a pocket watch, and that's when I hit the World War II U.S. brass compass.
Nice.
That was the first thing I found with the Quest. I brushed the sand off it. I open up, and that darn thing was still working. That needle floated around and pointed right to north. And then I did a little digging, and what they did is when they were training the pilots at Great Lakes for a little while down there, they had the fake carrier and teaching landings. They gave those compasses to the pilot, but there was no name or initials on it. It just said U.S.
And I think if I remember right, if they go to your timeline and go through your cover photos, they'll see a picture of that compass.
Yeah, it's on there. It's on there. And my heart almost stopped when I found that, because right around, besides the, because after that, later on, I found the rock, which I call it, and then that was probably one of the best things at that time. That was probably 3 years ago, something like that I found. I couldn't believe it. Especially in that condition, like it just fell out of somebody's pocket 10 minutes ago, and 6 inches down on a beach, from World War II.
Yeah, that thing looked like it was in just spectacular condition.
The only thing I did to that is I took a wet cloth to it and wiped it off. That's all I did to that. I didn't do anything else.
It's a sharp looking picture. I've seen it. Yeah. That is definitely a nice one for sure. One to be proud of. And I guess, what a way to kick things off with your experience with Quest.
Yeah, that kind of did it. And then, like Garrett, you can take the whole thing, submerge it. And what's nice is for that price, it comes with everything. It comes with the adapter if you want to use your own headphones. It comes with the wireless headphones. Comes with a pouch, if you get certain kits or whatever. And the one thing, I know there's a lot of diggers out there. What I like more than anything is the way the shafts work, like the Mind Labs. You click it open, you adjust it, and go. There's something about pushing in those little push pins that just drive me crazy.
I think we're
this thing and throw it right in your car. I love that.
I think we're kind of reaching an end to the era of the spring clips for a lot of the manufacturers.
The 21-cent spring clips.
Yeah, because Mind seems to be moving to it. Note to Macro has. Deus has. It's a wise move. It makes the actual detector itself kind of infinitely adjustable, so you can adjust it for any age group.
Right, and even with cam locks, it's still stronger. No wobbling, any shape or manner. I just love the way it just, and I take and I make, okay, I'll probably get burned for this, just a little bit of fluorescent green fingernail polish, and I just mark the shaft. So when you get out of the car, I open that up, I see the mark, click it, go. I don't have to fiddle with it. You get out and you're going, oh crap, what hole is it in? And stuff like this. And I know you can still mark that, but it's just something about when you're done, you hit 2 clips, you fold it up, and then it's like, I don't know why, like Garrett hasn't changed the shafts, or Fisher definitely, that would, the clap shaft, I call them whatever, on a Fisher would just be astronomical.
Right.
And,
absolutely, and that's what we're seeing from a lot of the manufacturers lately. The technological race that we're in, they're making all of them more compact, more portable, lighter, more powerful, rechargeable, updatable.
Yeah, I've gone over 35 hours on that Quest rechargeable and still had a mark left on the battery. That's, and you never have to worry about, oh crap, I don't have enough batteries, or I forgot batteries, or I didn't do this. That was a selling point to me, actually, was the battery thing. It really was.
Yeah, anymore I'm a big fan of the portable and rechargeable like that. The Equinox and the Deus are both that way too, where I don't even plug them into a wall to charge them. I just use a portable USB pack.
Yeah, and it's got the magnet connector. It's got like a little dibble on it, and you just touch it, and the magnet grabs it on the machine, and that's what charges it. So you don't have to worry about putting a clip in wrong, or and that the ease of use. But what I found with using the Fisher, just front to back, and as you know, you could be 40, 50 sensitivity, and that is really deep. But if you start getting in the 60s and 70s, and people know, you'll get a lot of chatter from that. But I found out with the Quest, I could go 75, 80, almost 90 out of the 99, and not a peep out of it. You know, whatever the circuitry or, you know, whatever. But, you know, we were talking about that earlier before the show started, you know, about Quest and the lawsuit. Well, I don't think there's a manufacturer out there that hadn't done what Quest did, but they just got caught. You know, because everyone shares information. I mean, someone will leave Garrett and go to work for Fisher, and someone will leave Fisher and go to work for MindLab, and they're, you know, they can't leave their brain. They're going to take it with them. You know, so it's going to get in someone else's machine eventually. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and we've seen it before from some of the other manufacturers where they've kind of, you know, gotten out of line with what they were doing, and whatever company they may have been leasing that technology from says, "Hey, wait a minute, you need to slow down here."
But I will say, I still use the orange. I call it the orange, the Garrett pinpointer, Pro Pointer. I still think that's one of the best ones I've ever used, though, is that Garrett one, without needing a manual to figure out how to use it and adjust the sensitivity to it. But that's the only one I still use. I mean, they did a beautiful job designing that. You don't have to get super fancy, as long as it fits in the hand and it works very well and it's sensitive. Yeah, that's all you need. You know, and I've always been happy with it. I know Detectors really makes a good one. I've used that before. It's got a little learning curve to it, but I always go back. If I'm running out the door, I see that orange stick, and that's the first thing I grab.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I've got a couple of the Detectors pinpointers. Yeah. I've got some XP pinpointers. I've got a couple MindLab pinpointers, but usually 98% of the time when I'm out in the field, I'm using a Garrett. Yeah. That is a very well-built pinpointer. It does the job quite well. Yeah. And you can't beat them for the price.
No, you can't. And they're built. I mean, those things take a lot of abuse the way they're built.
Oh yeah, I bet the one I've got now, I've probably been using that for the last 5 years, probably easily the last 5 years.
Oh, I still got my black one with a little hairline crack in it with a piece of duct tape on it, and I've had that one forever, and that still works fine. If I get caught in the rain with it, I just get in a Ziploc bag. So, you know, which everyone used to do, to use it underwater.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Before the days of the waterproof pinpointers, now it seems like pretty much, for the most part, pretty much all of them are at least weather resistant or waterproof now.
Yeah, absolutely correct. They're all made pretty well, and they're pretty much, you know, competitively priced. And it's just what fits good in your hand and what you like to use. I have not used the new Fisher one yet. I have not even held one in my hand. So I don't know if someone out there has used one and like to give their opinion on it, because I haven't even, I've seen them, you know, I see them pop up on the Fisher site and stuff like that, but I have not yet to try one of theirs yet.
Yeah, I haven't messed around with their new one at all myself either. I don't know. I guess I figure, you know, what I'm running, it ain't broke, so I ain't fixing it.
There it is.
It's working for me, so I'm sticking with it. Although I do try to keep my eyes peeled, because if there's something better out there, show me.
Absolutely.
But we'll see how that all goes, for sure. Let's see here. Looks like somebody's wanting to know if I've ever paired up an MI6 to the Deus. Yeah, actually, I do have one paired to the Deus. And that's where the practicality of the MI6 comes into play. As a standalone pinpointer for someone who is not a Deus or ORX user, it doesn't, you don't really get any benefit from it. The real benefit comes from if you are an SP user and you compare it to your machine. That's where you really find the benefit of the MI6. Otherwise, though, definitely the Carrot is a good one. I mean, I will use the MI6 when I'm out with the Deus, But if I'm out with the Equinox, I'll use the Carrot or even the Minelab Profind.
Okay.
So, 29 years in the hobby. I'm sure you've had to have run across at some point some sort of kind of dicey situation. What was one of the kind of most harrowing or nerve-wracking situations that you found yourself in?
Well, I don't know if I should talk about that one, but it's probably been statute of limitations probably passed. We were, my wife had family in Indiana, and I want to say it was, like I don't want to get the name wrong. It was some type of Civil War park up there. Trying to think what the name of it was, and it had a 4-foot metal gate and about 20 park rangers every 5 minutes driving past the picnic area. And I kept looking at my wife. I'm like, I'm getting in there. She goes, well, I'm not bailing you out. And so I kept, wow. Anyway, so I kept thinking, I says, well, how to outsmart a ranger. My wife's like, leave it alone. I'm looking at the detector in the car. And I'm like, 5-10 minutes, I just got to get in there. And, the signs are all over the place, no this, no digging. And I went, you know what, I got an idea, because my wife says, I love you, but you're on your own. And I took, because my wife didn't even know who I used, I took her keys, and I threw them over the 4-foot fence. And I wait a little bit then, so it was kind of amusing to watch me go over a 4-foot fence. And I got over there, and sure enough, I turned that detector on, and like within 2 minutes, I hit a musket ball. I hit a ball. And then I hit a bullet. And then my wife goes, guess who's coming? And I knew there was no way. I knew how fast it took me to get over the fence, and I knew how long it would take me to get back.
Right, it ain't happening.
Yeah, well, I'll just go with a stupid look. And then he pulled up and says, sir, you cannot be in there. I need your ID. And I'm like, I'm just trying to find my wife's keys. And my wife got this dumbest look on her face. And I reached down and go, oh, I found them. and I wobbled back on the other side of that fence with half a pound of dirt in each pocket with the finds I found. And he saw the keys. He goes, all right, yeah, you can't go back there. I'm like, okay. And then, I got the you lying this and you lying this after that. But I didn't go back over the fence after that.
Wow.
Oh, God.
That's
that
a different
funny.
One. That is definitely a different one.
Yeah, the kind of fence you go over and you just think when you get to the other side, every belt loop you got on your jeans has been ripped. But I found, it looked like part of a suspender. Actually, I posted it, or a badge holder. I found that. I found like 3 bullets, and I'm not familiar with the terminology. I don't do a lot of Civil War hunting. I think one of them was a 5-ring, and some smaller and bigger size shot. That's where that came from. So,
wow.
I mean, I'm not like Swansea and went into a potato field and found half a regiment, but I had to go this way. So.
Yeah, we don't see, Swansea keeps himself busy. We don't see a whole lot of him. Every now and then he will pop up. And
yeah, I miss his finds. He would find some beautiful stuff out there. He'd call me the day he'd find it. He'd call me, and I'd be sitting there going, "Yeah, well, I found a quarter." It was one of those comments.
Right, yeah, and it was in 1995.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can spend it. Where are you going to spend that at? Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, we had some good stories, but he would never find silver. And it's like, well, hell, I got a box of silver here, Swansea. I'll trade you for the finds you found the last month. I had no problem with that. So
right there for a while, it seemed like he was on a kick. If it wasn't reals, it was War of 1812 buttons.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great shows out there. And I would love to go back to where I was born and find, go in the woods and find the, the stone basements and the rock walls and stuff, because that would just be, that's one thing I have not seriously done yet. And that would just be, I'd love to do that. And you can keep your silver quarters. I'd love to do that just once.
Right. Do you still have family back there?
Yeah, my mom is 86, and she still lives there. Yeah.
Oh, well, see, sounds like maybe there's a trip in the future.
Well, I hope so. Well, she's not far gone yet because she still remembers me that I'm her son. So I'm still in goods, I guess. So.
Well, see, you've got a place to stay when you get there.
Yeah. Who are you? Yeah, that's all I need. Yeah.
But yeah, that would definitely be a great opportunity to get out there and do that sort of thing. I know it's all based on kind of your area's geography as far as the history that you can find. But anytime you can get out there to the East Coast and do some hunting, it's always a good time.
Well, absolutely. Yeah. Real quick, where I was born and grew up playing around 2 miles from the house, a small town in Winslow, we used to play at Fort Halifax, which
wow.
I guess, yeah, it was, I still have pictures of it. It was right there on the Kennebec River, and we used to play there all the time, and because by then they didn't care what you did, but boy, I'd love to go there and detect around that place. I mean,
right.
That would just be, but they got some serious fences there, and at my age, I know I can't go over those. I'm not going to try it.
Yeah, they get pretty serious about that stuff anymore.
Yeah, I was like 2 miles from it. So, and then I started reading about the history, and I'm like, geez, I was right there. So, but,
right, yeah. If only I would have known then what I know now.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still plenty of other places out there I'm sure you can get to that the potential of possibility for the history that you can find is phenomenal.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to take a canoe and go back and hit some places on the Kennebec River. And I'm telling you, because that was a pretty big channel back then during those times, wartime. And I bet you there's some beautiful finds, but a lot of diggers out there will know what I'm talking about. I mean, this is you walk 1 foot in the woods and you need like 3 machetes type brush,
Right.
But I'd love to get in there because I bet you there's some really good finds up and down that Kennebec River.
Oh yeah, it only stands to make sense. You figure, they were the transportation basically back in the day. They were the roadways, so that's what everybody used. That's what everybody stuck close to. And chances are good, if it was a good spot back then, it's even a good spot now to travel.
Well, yeah, that's all colonial. I mean, you had Indians going up and down there, Pilgrims going up and down there. I mean, holy cow. I mean, that was, I'd love to get in there someday and, swing a detector, just park the canoe on the side, get out and just, start hitting some, 5-6 feet up or 8 feet up from the, the river, so.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard telling what you'd find. I've got a few spots around here that I'd like to get back into as far as the river goes, just because of the amount of history that surrounded it and everything, and a few other projects going on where we're trying to recover some items for people.
Yeah, that would be really good.
We've actually, part of the Miami-Erie Canal lock system runs through my part of the state. And we've actually had a gentleman that's given us permission to hunt his property with the understanding that if we happen to run across the wicket gate for the lock, that it gets donated to the local historical society.
Yeah, got no problem with that.
Yeah, exactly, because I'm thinking, man, there's got to be large scents and everything else out there, too. Sure, they can have the gate. All we want is... a photo of it and maybe a little card next to it that says we helped recover it.
Well, yeah, they have to identify who recovered it if they know. Absolutely, and because that'd be there for, a long time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like they're very anxious to make progress with that. I guess they've got a spot all set up if it's ever recovered. So we'll see how it goes. Definitely. And then obviously, as you mentioned earlier in the show, you apparently you are another one of those that are planning on attending the Swing Into Summer event. Have you had the chance to book your room and everything?
Yes, I did that the other day. Yes, I am all good. Talked to someone there named April and got the room all booked. I am there. I'm going to be there Friday and probably stay till probably Saturday night or Sunday.
Well, there you go. Well, it sounds like as long as things go as planned, we'll be there to meet you basically, because I think we're rolling in Thursday.
That would be fantastic. From what I understand, yesterday April said I think there was 14 rooms left. I think she told me.
Oh,
so
yeah,
hopefully the listeners can go, because if you can make that trip, that's just going to. Well, it's only 2 hours for me, but that would be great if most of the listeners out there can go, because that'd be great. Everyone hook up and meet each other. I think that would be fantastic.
Oh yeah, there's a number of them in the chat that they're planning on making it. It's I want to say for us, it's going to be right around probably a 6.5 hour drive.
Yeah, I know Mr. Bill is driving you, so he'll be nice and tired when he meets me, so I might have a chance. So I'm anxious to meet Mr. Bill, so that's going to be good.
Well, I think that's why he wants to roll in Thursday. That way he can be all rested up and bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for the hunt.
Yeah, everyone needs recovery time.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we figured, well, if we're all traveling that way anyway, what better way to do it than to travel in company? So
that's fantastic.
And it makes it a little easier on everybody, too, financially, I'm sure.
I do want to say one thing before the time's up real quick, Josh, is I can't thank you enough for asking me. I mean, I consider it an honor. I really do. I know most of the people, well, talking to them, basically, when you do the show like that. I've been listening to you for years on and off, and I was really honored that you asked me, and greatly appreciate it, because I know you've had a lot, I'll use the word, more exciting guests than me, but I really appreciated the opportunity, and I considered it an honor. Thank you very much.
Nice, not a problem. Definitely glad to have you on, and actually we've got, looks like we've got Chuck on with us right now, I think. Yes, we do.
Oh, all right, there we go.
Hey, Craig. Hey, Josh. How's it going?
All right.
I'm doing good, Chuck. How are you feeling?
Oh, good. Good. The weather, we had 62 here today, and I had the great opportunity of having a group of guys here today, and we did a little something there, and I'll let John announce all that on his Facebook. John came over, and we did a little promo, and I'll let him have the thunder on that towards this hunt, and it's going to be a good time. I'm getting to meet all you guys. That's going to be fun.
I look forward to it. That'd be great. I can't wait to do that. Hear that promo. That's going to be good.
Oh, we stumbled through it. Trust me.
Oh well, that's what makes it real. That's what I was talking about. But 62, my God, you got me beat by 11 degrees. Holy cow! I was out there limping around today, trying to stretch every physical part I had on me, and I was doing pretty good. But
I understand.
yeah, it's I tell everyone I walk slow, but I'm determined as hell.
yeah, it's not getting down to do that digging. It's getting back up anymore.
Well, I told my wife, she always goes with me, and it's so funny. She gets a lot of applause. I go, well, what's your wife do? Well, she digs it up for me. I said, wait a minute. You find it and she digs it? I'm like, I don't have a choice. She goes, is she available for hire?
There you go, Michael.
Yeah, because I tell everyone.
Always ask. She's greatest find. I tell my wife she lets me go do this, but she doesn't go dig for me, I'll tell you that.
Oh, Chuck, you can't believe the looks I get. I'll find something good. I'm standing there just looking around, and my wife's down there on her hands and knees digging. And people are like, look at that SOB. And it's just like, hey, it's not me, I swear. I always told my wife, if I see something...
Yeah, well, that ain't going to happen for me, I'll guarantee you.
I'll tell you one thing. You and if I dig something really good, I'll go down there and I'll stay there. I don't care.
There you go. So, nope, it's going to be fun to meet all you guys out there and put faces to the voices that we all hear and the chit-chat in a group, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. That's what it's all about. We're going to have some great stuff. I've got some more stuff that's come in that was donated, and I'm not going to announce any of that right now, but we're going to have some pretty neat stuff in that hunt.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic. If I'm able, I might do the morning one, and if anything else, I just how do they say that? Depending on what I find, I might donate it back.
Mm-hmm.
But
right.
The first hunt sponsored by Sirius out of Michigan, and Evil will be there. And then the afternoon hunt is the Nootka hunt, and then we got the kids hunt. And the kids are the ones that are going to really, holy smoke, they're pouring out a lot of stuff for the kids hunt. So that ought to be a pretty decent hunt. We've got a bunch of detectors for those kids.
Oh,
holy smokes!
I love
it'll be a good time, and we hope you all have safe travels getting there, and we all have a good time and safe travels back home, and that Mother Nature supplies us with a good weekend. The last time we had a hunt there, we had a 3-inch rain in the morning. Water was running everywhere in that park.
That's what Josh said. Yeah, Josh said
yeah, it was a monsoon.
I said I might bring my blow-up duck for that one. So.
Right?
It was crazy. But it quit in time for us to pull the hunts off. It ran a little later than we thought it would due to that, but it was a great day. You just couldn't put anything down on the ground because it floated.
Yeah, once it stopped, though, the sun came out, the clouds went away, and everybody kind of come out of the woodwork. It still turned out very, very well.
Yep, and we're getting, I think they got you're right, about 17, but I talked with a couple people today. They were booking several rooms, and so that puts us, originally, while we have we've got another hotel with a block of rooms that people may be booking into, too, that's listed on there. And between the two hotels, we have 50 rooms blocked with special rates. And the Best Western's the one I'm telling people, if you want to be close to the meet and greet, you'll be right there. And we originally blocked 20, and so things went kind of fast, kind of quick on a 10-12 the first day. So I called them back and said, "Can you do 30?" She said, "Sure."
Yeah, I'm in the conference part. Yeah, because she goes, "Yeah, I have that available." I said, "Yeah." I said, "I definitely want to be that side." So yeah, I made sure of that.
Because I talked with Delect from Nootka the other day, and I gave her all the info on that. She was going to get her room set up, and we've got some of the nomads. One of them's online there tonight with us, Scott.
That's
Treckler,
right, Scott's in there.
He'll be there, and then Van Boone, he'll be there.
Excellent. That's going to be fantastic.
Yep, and I'm still waiting to hear on a couple others, and I told them, if you don't book now, you ain't going to be able to stay right there. And so they're working on it, and it'll be a good night. And the next day, go ahead.
No, I'm very sorry. I thought you were done. Sorry. I asked April, and she said they have a bar and grill food that opens up at 5. And I'm like, wow. I said that's going to be nice. So if people get hungry at night, they get hungry at night. That bar opens up and the grill opens up at 5. Yep. So that's fantastic.
There is adult beverages on site available, and Tim says we're going to have hors d'oeuvre trays and that kind of stuff sitting around there during the meet and greet, and we've got quite the lineup for people to listen to and meet and ask questions of. Andy Sabish is going to be giving a couple classes on Saturday. Rain or shine, this event goes, so bring your rain gear.
Yep.
Yeah, especially for those that are traveling any sort of distance.
And we've got some people traveling, a bunch out of Ohio. Not sure on Mark Hoover out of Florida yet. He's still talking about it. Of course, KG and Ringy will be up there, and we've got Delec. She's going to win the long distance award. So
right.
You come farther than Istanbul.
Holy cow. Yeah, I think she's got us beat. So.
Yeah, that's going to be some jet lag.
Yeah.
But, people have been asking, and I'll throw this out to you, that's an old site. So it's a huge spot. There's plenty of open hunting before we get going. Once you register, you can go out and hunt in the park. And I know there's been large scents found, other stuff. There's plenty of great open hunting to do.
World War II hand grenade.
So it's a fun time. We just ask everybody during the hunts, we don't want you using shovels. Use hand trowels if you can do it, and that kind of stuff. So we want to protect it because they were very happy with us the first time we took care of the place. We didn't do a lot of deep bury at all because it was really mucky. And
stay off the beach.
Yeah, and you have to stay off the beach because that's closed through that summertime period. It gets pretty busy there. They got a really nice swim area there.
Yeah, they do.
Okay, I'm going to be bringing a couple of brand new extended sand scoops with me. I thought I'd donate if you know a table. Those
that would be grand. We'll put them on token. We try to token everything as best we can.
I've got them. I'm bringing two.
We'll have a detector raffle going for the club.
Okay, Chuck.
And then the rest of it gets tokened, and we're working on making sure we got enough tokens that are stamped and numbered, and then assign numbers to prizes as they come in, and put another token in the bin, and then they'll be out into the 2 hunts.
Yeah, I got some Quest pouches, a Quest backpack.
Oh, bring it on.
And a couple of sand scoops I'm bringing down. You guys, you can put them wherever you need them.
Very cool. Thank you for the donation.
Nice.
No, you're always welcome. I'm more than happy to do it.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun, and we'll make sure you get made mention of.
Not a problem. And because, Josh already told me he's bringing that, pre-civil whatever, a gold ring he wants to raffle off. So he'll be bringing that with him. So I want to thank Josh personally for that. That's just. I'm going to be buying some. I'm coming down with about $500, Josh. So I'm buying some tickets. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Yeah, I had to mute my mic over here. I'm choking on that ring.
Oh, go ahead and eat it, Josh. We'll wait.
The stories will flow that night. Now, if we get Lloyd to come up, I'm sure there'll be a lot more stories.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Someone's going to have to follow Josh around. Make sure we get the ring.
There you go. But we like to, the thing about the hunt isn't just about the hunt. It's about everybody getting to connect and meet and talk with friends that you've made online. You may not know personally, but they've been friends because you've been chatting and talking and all that kind of stuff over the years on different sites like this, like you were talking about earlier, and you get to extend that friendship, and that's what this is about. And it's a rally too. Over in London, they do rallies, and over in England, and they get together and have a good time until the French show up and the English, and at night they decide they want to fight. I was at a detective ball. They actually did that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's a good bar welcome right there.
Oh man. The next morning we got there and heard all the stories of that the French and the English decided to have a minor battle.
Oh God!
They had to call the bobbies and the dogs in.
You know what, Chuck? I'm half Indian. I should have been there. At least it would have been an Indian in that fight.
There you go.
French cowboys. Think of that.
Yeah. There you go. French, Indian, and English. Let's do it. Hit it up.
Right. Well, and I can tell you, Chuck, that since the flyers have went out and we've been sharing them around, I couldn't tell you how many notifications that I've got of people sharing the flyer off of the Beyond Sight and Sound page, or how many messages and phone calls that I've gotten from people saying, hey, we heard that you're going to be there too. We look forward to finally getting to meet you.
Well, I hope these guys are ready for it. We were talking with Frank today on cooking hot dogs. We're going to have hot dogs. Now, bring a covered dish, bag of chips, dip, whatever, to throw on the table to share with everybody that day, and they cook hot dogs. And we were going to haul a grill down there, a pull-behind grill, and I was watching a video on Bone from last fall. They boiled them. I looked right at Frank. I said, I got the turkey cooker for it. We're going to boil them. I mean, dogs are dogs.
Yep.
Just boil them up, get some good quarter pounders. And he said, I like that idea.
Yeah.
So that's how he's going to cook them this year.
Wow.
Sounds
Well,
awesome. I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, that'll keep Chef Juarez busy.
Yeah, Frank will be busy. So we'll have a good time with that. And Jesse's trying to get ID bracelets for each hunt, the rubberized ones. So one color is for the first hunt, the next color is for the second hunt. If
There you go.
done in both hunts, you're going to be wearing 2 bracelets on the wrist, the rubber bracelets, so we can ID you. And we're trying to work out a few logistics, but it's coming together, and it'll be a good time, and you get to have some fun, and that's all part of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely it is.
So,
and you'll get to meet
Craig,
lot of great people.
We'll be glad to meet you then. I'm going to back out of here and let you guys finish up. And thanks for letting me call in, Josh. And you guys all have a great night. And we're all looking forward to meeting you. And we'll keep building on it.
You too. Right. I can't wait. Yeah, beautiful job. I look forward to it.
Send some of that 60-degree weather our way if you can.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. It was a grand day today around here. It was really nice. And
you're killing me.
Well, the end of the week's supposed to be 50 near 60. We're going to drop back down, get some cold and wet, and then back up. Yep. It's March, you know how that goes. But,
Josh doesn't get any 60-degree.
Zero.
Josh doesn't get any 60-degree weather. He already found his ring, so he's taking a powder.
It was a nice ring. It definitely was.
I will find a beautiful spot for it, Josh.
There you go. Display it well.
Absolutely beautiful on my finger.
I'm sure he would, but they just don't look as nice when they look nicer when you go out and get them yourself.
No, true. Right. I mean, if you feel better,
it looks like on Barb, it's the bet's on a gold coin. So that's the way I was reading it in here tonight. So we'll see how long that takes, Josh.
Yeah, well, I already told Barb, I said, you don't have to worry about being tagged too often because they don't turn up real often. However, disclaimer, don't be surprised if Chuck tags you in a post, because if anybody's going to find one before you, it's going to be him.
Well, I'm going back to England, so we'll see if we can for another one there.
I believe you, Josh. It's better if I find it myself. And to be all fair, I mean, you should just line up on a grassy knoll and just throw it 5 feet, and I'll pull out the detector, and I'll find it, and I'll yell out, yoo-hoo, and then like that, and then we'll all be good.
Hey, what'd be even nicer, though, is if you show up at that park and you find one naturally.
Absolutely. All I got to do is wait for you to take a nap. I'll find one.
They're there.
Yes, they are.
That's a big park. Smoke.
Fantastic.
That place is huge, and it got a lot of use. It was built by the railroad in the see if I get my years right, about 1875 to 80 range, and they put a lake in, and the lake was there to make sure they had water for the steam engines coming through. It was a big hub center for rail.
Yep.
And then it had a park-like thing, and people were going to it, and then eventually the railroad just donated it to the city. It's a beautiful place.
God, how'd you like to do a little scuba diving or snorkeling in that for about 2 hours?
Oh, it's been done.
Oh. Now I'm anxious.
So they draw that down once in a while. When they do a drawdown, you read about in the paper, you get out there and there's 50 guys working that thing.
Oh, I bet.
But it's just a drawdown. It doesn't go, all the way dry.
Right.
Yeah, they draw it down and it draws everybody in.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it does. You're right. So, all right, good night, all. Everybody have a great week. Get out, hopefully, if you can, and find something, and be safe out there.
Yes,
you
sir.
You too, Chuck.
Thanks, Chuck.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Yeah, he is definitely excited about that hunt, and it sounds like the pile of prizes is growing with your generosity.
Yeah, I just, well, you gotta, I want to bring something, if you're able to do it, I'm not, but that's, I've got those here, and, Cheryl brought it up, my wife, and I'm like, yeah, you know what, that's a good idea, so we packed it away, and, we'll just bring it down with us, so it'll work out good, so.
Nice. I'll be, I'll have a few things in tow myself there for prizes as well, not a gold ring, but...
Well,
some nice prizes.
Bursting my bubble.
I know. It looks so nice in my display.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
Well, and it sounds like John has got some announcements on the way then, so those that aren't subscribed to Crazy Spider Adventures on YouTube, they may want to get over there and get themselves subscribed and hit that notification bell, because I think he releases his videos on Wednesdays.
Fantastic. Look forward to it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they've done up. He does a very good job with his videos, definitely. So I'm looking forward to that.
Do they know where to register for the hunt, Josh? They got that information out there?
Yeah, they do. I can probably send you a direct link to the post after we get off the show here. That way you've got that information as well, because they can either mail it in or they can PayPal it.
Fantastic.
And I want to say they may even be able to register up to the day of the hunt, but the price goes up. Now,
Okay.
if you register now, you get their early bird price, which I want to say is, I think it's $40 for the morning hunt and $60 for the afternoon hunt.
Yep.
But then that's the early bird price. That's only good until the end of May, and then it's going to go up from there, which it doesn't go up a whole lot. I think we're looking at maybe an additional $25, $30, something like that. So it's a nominal increase. So it's not bad at all. Not bad at all. So I guess I guess I'll give you a minute to mention where people can find you if you would like, and then hang in there with me and we'll get out of here.
All right. Well, again, thank you very much for inviting me. It's been a lot of fun, and I very much appreciate it. Website is being built. Anybody want to reach me also, obviously through Facebook, it's craigmstriker on Facebook, and my Gmail is all one word. It's craigmstriker, STRIKER, at gmail.com.
Nice. All right. Well then, hang in there with me and we'll roll on out of here. So I will be back to you in just a couple of minutes there, Striker. For everyone else, obviously, Craig Striker, definitely a hoot to talk to and hear some of his stories, and definitely going to be a hoot to meet him in person in June. So for those of you that are attending the meet and greet and the hunt, you'll have to look him up. I'm sure he'll be around there somewhere. Until the next one, if you enjoyed the show, make sure and throw us a like. You can follow us here on Spreaker, Facebook, iTunes, iHeart, FM Play, YouTube. Good grief, we're all over the place. Google Beyond Sight and Sound. Google can be your friend. We light up like a Christmas tree. Until the next one, we gotta roll. Have a wonderful evening, folks. We're out of here.